Hey MCE crew, today I want to talk to you about several business models that are on life support, and I want you to pay close attention to these models in these particular industries so that if you're thinking about starting a business in these industries, you will know what's coming down the pike. This stuff, that the ones we're going to go over, these industries are being disrupted. And although the industry will remain, the business model that has maybe been successful for many, many decades is going to fall by the wayside. A lot of these are on life support. They're headed to the graveyard of business models. And I want you, therefore, to steer clear of these in terms of thinking about them from a long-term viability standpoint. Now, they might have a few more years left in them of really good growth, but as we'll see, one of these in particular is projected to really decline significantly in the next few years. Like the content, please help me out with the algorithm. I'm trying to spread this message about how to make your money work harder for you than you're out there working for it. Especially, one of the biggest things that's being disrupted right now is the whole concept of money and how we make it and how we put it to work. So like the content, share, help me expand on this message, expand our community here. All right, the first industry that is currently being disrupted is going to kill a business model that has been existing for many, many, many decades, probably over a century in some form or fashion. Truck drivers. Now, let me say, I used to own a trucking company. My wife and I, we had a trucking company. My brothers drove for the company. Trucking is a very, very challenging business. I've been over that in previous videos. Suffice it to say that this industry, as it's currently constituted and as it has been, where you've got an individual who goes out and has either one truck and tractor, they're an owner-operator, or they got a fleet of tractor trailers, flatbeds, reefers, not that kind, refrigerated trailers is what reefer is in the parlance of the trucking industry. All of that is being disrupted, and it's going to push aside the truck driver. However, it is going to create an opportunity as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. But look, you've got trucks right now that are getting more and more automation embedded in them. You got the whole driverless technology theme growing by leaps and bounds. Every single day, companies like Tesla gather more algorithmic data that gives them a picture of the conditions out there on the roads of America, the highways and byways. Also, their artificial intelligence gets smarter and smarter and is able to do things like recognize the difference between a stop sign and, say, a human being, okay? Or is able to react when a child's ball comes out into the street. Okay, so that technology is maturing and is getting better and better every day. Now, a truck that leaves San Francisco on its way to Vienna, Virginia, most of that trip is pretty much easy going. It's a straight line for the most part, you know. Let's say you leave out of Denver, you hop on 70 and, you know, you drive 70 all the way into Baltimore, Maryland. You can do that. So that's easy. That's going to be here first. You're going to see trucks making that trip first. Automated truck, driverless trucks. And in the beginning, you're going to have a guy in there or a girl in there who's going to just be there just in case. And also to be there when that truck maybe gets into a city and needs to, you know, the trip gets more complex, then that person may take over. However, all the while it is gathering that data. That computer inside that truck is gathering data, sending it back somewhere, and it is being processed so that one day soon, that truck will be able to make that entire trip with no problem whatsoever. And you're not going to need truck drivers. What you will need are these individuals who do this like fleet operations position. Who, imagine you have a woman, she used to be a truck driver. She knows the industry. But now she sits in front of 5 screens that monitor 5 different tractor trailers somewhere in the United States. And if one of those trucks or more runs into an issue, she's able to intervene. Okay? That's going to be kind of where we go with that whole thing for the foreseeable future. Now, if you believe that a tractor trailer is going to be allowed to get out there, 80,000 pounds fully loaded, is going to be able to get out there and travel up and down again the highways and byways, which it will, then if that's going to happen, you know, definitely this whole ride share thing where a person gets into a car and another person drives them to wherever they want to go, be it a taxi, be it an Uber, be it a Lyft, that is also going to be another thing where humans are taken out of the equation. Now, back a few years ago, maybe in the beginning of the 2000s, New York taxi cab medallions. These were basically the licenses that gave the taxi cab operators the right to operate in New York City. They peaked at about $1 million. What an investment. You want to talk about a high barrier to entry? $1 million to operate one taxi cab in New York City. Well, as Uber and Lyft started to come in, totally disrupted that, made that equation totally unreasonable. The price of the medallions have dropped. So imagine you went in there and spent $1 million to get your medallion. There's no way you're selling it for that today. No way in the world. All right, so that was disrupted. Now we're going to see the Uber and Lyft human driver disrupted. That side hustle is going to go away because we're getting into, again, if we got a driverless 18-wheeler, you know that it's not even going to be, a big leap to have a robo-taxi. A driverless car is going to change the entire way that we look at automobile ownership, okay? Now, I'm from the old school. I'm going to own a car, okay? I don't know how many I will own. I might be very comfortable with relying on a robo-taxi just to do errands and, run around and do different business things. I call up like we do Uber now on the phone. We do the app. Robo-taxi comes to me, takes me to the grocery store. While I'm in there shopping, it's gone somewhere else. Who knows? Then when I'm almost done, I order another robo-taxi and a totally different one comes, picks me up, takes me where I want to go. No maintenance, no car payment, no insurance. I can get with that. So if you're thinking about operating a tractor trailer business or, a taxi business, that's done in the ways that they had been constituted in the past. Another one that is going by the wayside is the whole travel agency thing. That's done. Okay. They even say that employment for travel agents is expected to fall 26% from 2019 to 2029. And I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even know travel agents really were still out there like that. Because all of the trips I've ever taken, I've gone on the internet and I've done it. Okay. And this is from like years and years ago, decades ago. When I started really traveling big time, I never went through a travel agent. I always did it through the computer. So thinking about starting a travel agency, it's not a long-term viable proposition. Factory workers, of course, we know as more automation comes into the factory, we're going to see fewer and fewer workers needed to manufacture whatever it is they're putting together. Here's one that's going to really surprise you, lawyers. There's going to come a point where you're going to have a lot fewer lawyers out there. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I was a young buck, when I was just a young little money changes everything guy, I wanted to be a lawyer. And I wanted to be a lawyer because I saw it all over TV. I used to watch this show when I was young called LA Law. They made it look so glamorous. Every single week, These guys, the whole firm, every single week, somebody had a big case. They were in there arguing passionately, vehemently, dramatically, and I wanted to do that. But as I, got exposed to the law and lawyers and that whole thing, I learned that you're really not in court that often in these big LA law cases. The cases that came along 3 times a week on LA law, they rarely come along. And when they do, there's so many lawyers that there's a lot of competition out there, okay, for that service. Then when I was a lobbyist, we had the legal department, and those guys never went to court. They were kind of a weird bunch because they would put them off in this office in Northern Virginia, and all they would do was read, okay, and write. And every now and then you would hear from them, and they were kind of weird, okay? Different type of personality. I guess it came from being locked down, in their books all the time. A lot of these guys had hellified student loans, too, because they went to the best schools, and they got charged for it. So the legal profession is being disrupted because that reading and writing piece where you're looking for precedents and you're looking for, different occurrences that may have happened within the law, all that can be done by AI. And guess what? If you don't think so, then I want you to check out DoNotPay.com. This is an app that is being billed as the world's first robot lawyer. I don't have any affiliation with them. They're not sponsoring me. Maybe they should. Anyway, this is how they bill themselves. The DoNotPay app is the home of the world's first robot lawyer. Fight corporations, beat bureaucracy, and sue anyone at the press of a button. Hey, look, you laugh, but this might be just what the doctor ordered in terms of leveling the playing field with regard to the legal profession, the justice system, okay? Because right now, if you're a working class person and you're indicted with a serious crime, even if you didn't do it, the chances of you getting out of that are very slim because you got to pay to play. Now, if you're very rich, you can go out here and do whatever you want. And yeah, you might spend some time in court, but the chances of you getting away with it are very good because you can hire a team of attorneys. So things like this DoNotPay app might be an indication of where the legal profession is going, endowed by technology, leveling that playing field and giving more people access to effective quality legal services. Now, wouldn't that be something? I'd invest in that because one thing that grows and grows and grows is the law. The congressmen, the senators, these people in your state and in your county and your city, they go to these city halls, state houses, and the Capitol, and they do nothing all day, every day, but make more and more laws. So the chances of you running afoul of something is increasing. So maybe a robot lawyer could help you out. Robot lawyer doesn't need to drive a Porsche. He doesn't need to wear a $2,000 suit. Robot lawyer, she doesn't need to work in the biggest, fanciest glass tower in downtown, wherever you are. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. So those are some industries you need to watch out for in relation to the current business models. Now, you can figure out whether or not there's some way to play in that industry if you're passionate about it as technology changes. But understand they are being disrupted, and it's going to make it less than viable for you to focus on that as a long-term business strategy. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.